Hello, everyone. Welcome to Canadian music in the 80s and 90s and more. I hope you like what you see. If you do, please subscribe and say you like it. I always like discovering new people, new musicians, and this is Dillon Ryan, who I discovered opening for the Grapes of Wrath in Charlottetown about a week and a half ago or something like that.
Yeah,
You were opening a bunch of dates for them.
yeah, I did four out of the seven dates that they did across the Maritimes, and Charlottetown being one of them. And yeah, I recognized you in the audience before we even got talking because, yeah, as I told you, that I'm a fan of your podcast and I've watched a bunch of your interviews.
That means a lot to me because it means somebody's watching.
Yeah, it's helpful.
I was very happy to hear that actually. And well the feeling was mutual after I watched you open your set for the Grapes of Wrath. I was like, wow, I really like this guy a lot. This is amazing stuff. It really had a cool 80s vibe to it. And I'm like, I gotta see if he's got some CDs or something out there. And I was yeah, so and the fact that you're watching what I do makes it even better. So I think we've discovered each other's musical.
I mean, the Canadian music scene is so close knit. Like, I,
Yeah.
just stumbling across all these interviews of like Canadian bands I love. I noticed that you did so many of them.
Yeah, I still can't believe some of the people I've actually talked to. It's been an absolute dream come true for some of them. Like the Spoons, Honeymoon Suite. I can't believe I talked to Rick Emmett. Like that
Yeah,
was like like just guys with so much good insight on the industry and where it came from and where it's going, that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I'm about. But I'm also about these artists are still making music today.
yes,
And they're still making great music, and I like to encourage people to like give their new music a shot too.
definitely. Because you look at bands like Styx. Styx still puts out like amazing records. Like,
Yeah,
I think like to talk about Canadian, I think Larry Gowan really gave Styx like a new life.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I haven't seen them live with Styx. I don't know if you have, but I'm told he's a really good presence live with them. I mean, he was on his own for sure for so many years, but he must have brought a real energy to Styx.
yeah. I saw them when they played in Summerside last year, and it was a great show.
Well, you're a Maritimer yourself. You're from Mirmachi, from what I've discovered.
Yeah. Yeah, Northern New Brunswick. Yeah.
So when did you get started? Like when did you get started making music of your own and
Well, music was always a huge thing growing up. My dad is a massive music fan. He's his origin is he's British, and without saying how old he is, he was a young teenager when he would have watched the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, and like most people that saw that, that was a profound influence. And so when I was a kid, I got all the secondhand of that. Like I was listening to a lot of Beatles, a lot of Rolling Stones, The Who, and obviously a lot of kind of their American counterparts, bands like the Byrds and stuff like that. And yeah, those were the bands that when I was a little kid, it made me want to play the guitar.
Mhm.
Definitely Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the Doors, stuff like that.
When did you first pick up a guitar? Like how old were you?
Well, I must have been, it's kind of the classical story that there's an acoustic hanging around the house that nobody knows
Right.
why it's there. But I would have played that a random acoustic around the house as a kid. But I started taking it seriously when I was about 11 or 12, and had a lot of different phases of music that I listened to. But started writing songs in my teens when I got really into the band Oasis, and they were the band
Right.
that made me want to become a songwriter.
And what do you remember like the first song you ever learned to play like all the way through and were so happy that you learned it?
Oh, it was probably something by the Doors, because middle school I was super into the Doors. So
Mhm.
probably something like Roadhouse Blues, something just kind of standard 12 bar blues that I could
Right.
get through. And yeah, I find once you figure out a couple riffs and all your kind of first position chords, like you're just sort of on your way, and you're just. I learned how to play guitar before I had like the internet, so it was kind of the classic model of just listening to the CDs that I had and tried to play along with them.
Right. Um, when you started writing, did you have like a direction you were going in? Was there an influence that stuck out quite a bit when you first started writing your own stuff?
Well, I think like most songwriters, when you first start writing, like I think it's why a lot of bands' first albums are kind of like a melding pot of like
Yeah,
different influences, and the second, third, and fourth record get more sort of refined and dialed in. But it was kind of like this thing that I wanted to. I was really into 60s music, but I was into 80s post punk and new wave, and I was into classic rock, and it all over time decide kind of it evened itself out to what it should be, I guess.
right.
Yeah,
Before we started recording, you started some of your influences, like 'cause like I said, you have a real 80s vibe to what you do. Like you said you like The Cure and um um you mentioned Echo and the Bunnymen
yeah,
and
very,
bands along that era that yeah, I can hear that influence in what you do.
totally.
Um, and you mentioned that you're a real fan of Canadian music as well. Um, like are those bands you still listen to today?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big fan of like reference points. So like when I'm writing music or if I'm in the studio making a new record, like it, I always consider myself like a fan first and foremost. So it's just important to like reference those records that really informed who you are as a songwriter. And just when you're working with other people, just talk about what they like. And listening to music is such a huge part of creating music, like, and just getting back to the roots of what you love.
For sure. The one thing I noticed though, because I didn't see you play with a full band when you were with the Grapes, but the music really comes off well acoustically as well.
Yeah, I think well, there's a couple of reasons for that. Is a lot of times, like, I think a lot of songwriters would probably tell you the same thing, but they'll write on an acoustic guitar or they'll write on a piano just to get kind of like the bare bones idea
Yeah,
of the song to make sure that it's good at its core. Then they'll embellish it after the fact with kind of fancy guitar parts or whatnot. But I think like playing live, I always wanted to certainly play the guitar, the acoustic, more like I would in a band setting. I was very influenced by people like Johnny Marr from the Smiths,
right.
who would, like his chord choices, like he would, instead of playing like standard kind of bar chords and stuff, he would do like kind of nice, like big arpeggios,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. And just stuff to really fill out and propel the sound. And obviously, I like using things like chorus and delay and nice big reverbs to,
Yeah.
just give a little bit of ambience to what you're doing so that the sound comes across.
Yeah, Marr doesn't get a lot of credit for how good a guitar player he really is. Like, I mean, because he's not a big soloing guy, I
Yeah,
guess. Maybe that's why he doesn't get the attention he deserves, but he's such a good, tasteful, the way he plays. It's hard to describe, but it's just such a great way to play.
that we were talking about the Grapes of Wrath, but Kevin Kane's a guitar player very much like that too, like
Yeah,
very tasteful, kind of arpeggiated guitar parts. And yeah, those are the guitar players that I gravitate towards. I do love all of the Jimmy Pages of the world and that kind of thing, but
right.
just how I express myself, I like more that kind of melodic guitar style.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be flashy to be good, as far as I'm concerned. And like you said, it's okay to be into different kinds of players. Like, I mean, I love Van Halen more than anything in the world, but
Oh yeah, amazing.
but there's certain guitar players that they don't have to be flashy. You know what I mean? But the music really sticks out. It makes the songwriting, I think, exceptional when you hear guys that play like that. And I find you play like that quite well. Um, like, because I was listening to your CD like I've been listening to it for a week now, and I really love it. I love the sound you get out, but like I said, I really do like the way it comes off acoustically when you play it live. Um, and the way you slipped in a little cover of was it Lou Reed or the Velvet Underground?
Yeah, I did Sweet Jane by Velvet Underground. I always think it's pretty important, like when you're playing to maybe like a new group of people that are kind of unaware of what
Right,
you're doing. You wanted to put the focus on your original material, but maybe throw in, I always say throw in one cover just to kind of give some context and put
right.
things in perspective on like maybe where you're coming from, and maybe find some common ground with the listener.
Because I always knew that by Cowboy Junkies.
Yeah, and it's such a fantastic cover,
Yeah,
and I kind of amalgamated that a little bit because I did like more the lyrics from the Velvet Underground version, but
yeah.
I kind of did the tempo a little bit closer to the Cowboy Junkies.
Yeah, because again, that's a Canadian band that did such a good cover of that song. Like
Yeah,
that I knew it more than I knew the Velvet Underground version, but it made me want to listen to their version, of course, which is what I think a cover should do. If it's that good, it should make you want to go out and hear the original, like Nirvana did, or The Man Who Sold the World. So I went out to find the David Bowie version.
yeah,
And then found out that Mid-Year did a cover of it too.
yeah. Midge, amazing.
Yeah, I had the honor of interviewing him twice and meeting him in Mississauga about a month ago. What an amazing individual. Like, just great songwriter, great producer, great colors to his music, and he's influenced so many people. I'm sure he's influenced your music quite a bit too.
Or yeah,
Um, when it comes to, I saw a video recently of you playing Depeche Mode.
yeah. I just put that up just a while ago. Yeah.
Amazing cover. I really enjoyed it.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
But do you play with the full band much, or is it mostly just acoustic lately?
Well, it's kind of one of these things that there just really isn't that many venues that, certainly on the East Coast, that can accommodate having a full band all the time. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more venues for acoustic type things. And I do music for a living. So to stay busy, I kind of have it set that I can present my music in a lot of different ways. Like I'll do solo acoustic, acoustic duo, acoustic trio, or full band electric, and or sometimes I've done a couple kind of more piano type gigs. And I think if you want to be working all the time, it's kind of you got to be able to present it in a lot of different ways.
Do you jam with other people too? Like, if you're ever like, I saw you got up on stage and actually played with the Grapes a little bit later in the tour, which I thought was fantastic to see that they like you enough to get up on stage with you like that. That must have been a real thrill.
Yeah, it was a really amazing experience. They're just great guys, and it was an absolute pleasure to tour with them. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of a pinch me moment at first being able to do it, but then you just realize it's just like we're all just musicians just trying to make the best songs that we can and play the best shows that we can as well. But yeah, I was very honored too.
What have you got coming up this summer? Do you got some gigs going on? Are you doing some more touring around or?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of local gigs that I do just within my town of Mirmachi. But tomorrow night, I'm in Moncton at Oak Creek Brewing, and in Halifax on the 25th at Propeller, and I'm in St. John on the 26th. And people can find all my dates on at all my social media is at Dillon Ryan Music.
Yeah, I'll put those links in the description on the YouTube channel so anyone can click on those and get into those, and I'll post some of your YouTube links as well, just so anyone can click and look at anything they want because I think they really should. Um, in terms of, can we expect to see you over at PEI more?
I really hope so because I've probably played Charlottetown maybe 5 or 6 times over the years, and I've always really enjoyed it. But it's always kind of a hard thing to, you know, because I don't come from there originally, and it's like trying to find the right bands in town to play with, and but as I said on stage, like Charlottetown is a major music city. I always found that there was a lot of interesting music going on there, and I hope to be back.
I hope you are too. I could actually see you playing maybe the 10th stage at Solo Fest on here.
Yeah, that festival seems to be where it's at the moment.
Yeah, it's only done 2 years, but it's been an absolute amazing festival. I got to cover it last year and I discovered so much new music, which is what I think they like to do. They like to bring bands and stuff in there, not just big bands, which they did last year and this year for that matter, but they like to bring bands to discover. Like I discovered Andre Patapon and the Giants last year. I'd
I was
never
about
heard
to
of them.
say you did an interview with him, didn't you?
I did. It was unbelievable. Like, I mean, what an
He's a
energy.
sweet guy. What an amazing musician.
And this year I discovered Campbell and Johnston.
Yeah.
And they're coming to Somo Fest. They're playing the big stage this year. And there's a band that blew me away with amazing musical talent and songs. So like there's so much music out there to discover. And which is what I'm all about as well. I love discovering new bands, new artists, and really give them a fresh listen and like talking to guys like you, and I like to hear about your what you're a fan of too. What are some of your favorite Canadian bands? We got to keep the Canadian content up here because it is what I advertise, I guess.
Oh, there is a lot.
Grapes, obviously.
Grapes, obviously. Northern Pikes,
Hmm.
5440. 5440 is a huge one for me. Obviously, growing up in Canada, I just absolutely love April Wine. I think
Yeah.
Miles Goodwin, one of the greatest songwriters ever, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, Spoons, Blue Peter, The
Oh,
Bot.
the box. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just heard a new song by Men Without Hats recently. I don't know if
I
you've
love
heard
the
it yet.
80s, right?
Oh, fantastic song, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw Men Without Hats last November in Moncton. This show came. You're probably familiar with it, the '80s club tour that they did.
Yes, yes. I did a interview with, I forgot who I interviewed about that tour.
Gordon from the Spoons.
Yes, Gord talked about it.
Yeah,
And he's playing with Flock of Seagulls. He plays
yeah.
guitar with them, which is pretty incredible.
But you know what? That night, like obviously, Honeymoon Suite's always good. Flock of Seagulls, Men Without Hats. They were all really good. But Spoons opened the show, and that stole the whole show for me. Like they're such a great band.
It's one of those bands is, you might know a couple of their songs when you go see them, but when you see them, you're like, wow, I know a lot more than a couple of songs. They've been around for so long, been making music for so long, you just wind up realizing how much of their music you actually know. And those are kind of bands I like to go see when you oh yeah, I do know a lot of those songs.
Well, I saw another one of my favorites is Platinum Blonde. I
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw Platinum Blonde last year opening for Billy Idol in Moncton, and I'll tell you a quick funny story about that.
Sure.
Uh, a lot of times on stage with my band, I'll wear a lot of sequins,
Hmm.
and I was wearing a sequins like a black jacket. I think I have it right here. Uh, just like one of these kind of jackets,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I was wearing that to the show, and I had my hair kind of up, and Mark Holmes comes out on stage, and he's wearing almost the same outfit, and I was just like, oh my god, and anyways, after they were done, they were amazing, obviously. And between the two acts before Billy, I went out to use the washroom. I was going to get a coffee or whatever, and I see these two people kind of approaching me, and they're like staring me down, and I'm like, they think I'm Mark, and they come over and they're like, "Yeah, that was a great show." I was just like, "Yeah, yeah," and I was like, "Oh God, do I tell them the difference?" I didn't confirm or deny. That's what I'll say.
Oh, that's funny. It all reminds me of Jerry Maguire when those kids walked up to Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character and asked if he was Hootie.
Yeah,
Almost reminds me of that. That just makes me laugh. Yeah, because I saw a few decent shows back in Ontario when I lived there.
right,
I don't know if you've ever been out to Hamilton before. They used to do the Festival of Friends every year.
right.
And they had an 80s night that you probably would have enjoyed. It was the Box, Psychedelic Furs,
Oh, I love
and
psychedelic furs.
and Men Without Hats all in the same night. Like, I mean, how do you go wrong with that? Like, it's, amazing, amazing. I mean, Hamilton always had such good music at the festival, Friends Fest. It was so good. Tom Cochran. I mean, and it was all free, which was a great experience to see. The park down there in Hamilton is a great place to see live music if you ever get a chance.
Love to. You mentioned psychedelic furs, though. That's another band that's like a massive influence. Just how clean they blend guitars with keyboards. It almost becomes like one instrument. And Richard Butler, what a unique voice.
Yeah, my some family of mine actually went to see them in Toronto about 2 nights ago, not even,
Yeah,
and said they still sound as good today as they ever did.
I saw them 2 years ago at the M Telus in Montreal. Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Wow. Is there any dream, do you have any dream, um, I guess that dream people you'd like to play with or get together with or maybe write with or perform with?
I mean, honestly, any of the people that we mentioned. I mean, I've I've had I've had a lot of I've got to see a lot of my favorite bands of all time live, and I'm gonna cross one of the last ones off the bucket list next month. I'm finally getting to see Oasis in Toronto.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I waited 15 years for that, so I'm
Yeah,
just looking.
well, good luck with that new stadium. I've heard some mixed reviews about it, but
Yeah, I, I saw a reel. I think it was yesterday of Chris Martin from Coldplay talking about how weird it's set up. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, a friend of mine, I don't know if you've ever been to Ottawa before, the old the hockey arena that the 67s played in. It's like half an NHL rink, basically.
yeah,
And my friend actually saw Def Leppard there in 1992, and they were making comments about how weird that arena was.
yeah,
But they shot a video there, so that was interesting.
yeah. It
So
couldn't have been too bad.
yeah, so I don't know, it's kind of funny when someone brings up, you know, how weird the venues can be. But I mean, hey, that's part of playing music, right? Playing different venues.
Oh yeah, that's kind of the thrill of it. You never really know where you're gonna end up.
So what's the plan for, are you going to be making any new music as well? Do you have like new songs on the burner to get out?
Yeah, I've been writing a lot lately. The album I did before this one, I did an acoustic record. Yeah, not like a traditional acoustic record, but it was embellished with lots of keyboards and big reverbs and
Right.
kind of keep the spirit of the music that I do still there. But I'm kind of deciding if I want to do another acoustic record or do another full band one. I'm obviously going to do both at one point, but yeah, they take time, but it's worth it. And I always make physical copies of all of my records too, because I grew up buying CDs and now I buy records too. And it's important to make physical copies.
Well, it's nothing to be ashamed of because I still have these.
Oh,
There you go. I still have tapes. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I love
there's a
it.
Grapes of Wrath tape for you, which is probably that's the first Grapes of Wrath tape I ever really got into. And then I went and discovered all the rest of their music and just a band that's blown me away for years. They're one of my favorite bands of all time, and I can't believe I got to see them in a venue like that.
Yeah, I think, I saw the show last year with the full band. It was amazing, but I really think Trailside is a great venue for an acoustic show.
I think it I think it's a great venue for almost anything. I've seen quite a few shows there, and it's a great atmosphere. I like the fact that you can sit at a table, order some food,
Yeah,
and kind of relax. You're not in a big crowd of people that might, get sick on you or push you around or anything like that. And to get to see a band of the Grapes of Wrath stature is
yeah,
just incredible. Like, I mean, I saw Zappa Costa there last year too.
yeah. I heard
And
that was amazing.
yeah, like, and he's another guy. I didn't realize how many songs of his I knew
Yeah,
until I saw him play and how talented he is. Great songwriter over the years. Just, to see guys like that in a venue like that, it really is I think it's one of the best venues in the Maritimes for seeing live music.
I think so too. I think the Carlton in Halifax is quite similar in that
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like have you seen Fabulously Rich yet? Our Tragically Hip cover band?
I don't know if I've ever saw that one. I know that people tell me that's the one to go see.
They are. They
Yeah.
really are. I've seen a lot of Tragically Hip cover bands. These guys are the best. I also
Yeah.
know two of the guys, Dennis Ellsworth, who I'm sure you're familiar with as a
Yeah.
maritime
He's
musician.
a great artist in his own right.
I mean, those guys really know how to bring the hip to life. They really do, and it's just incredible. It helps that I know a couple of the guys, like I said, um, but
You know,
yeah,
there's
they
about
really,
five of them. There's about five hip tribute bands on the East Coast, and they all do such great business.
they really do.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a friend back in Ontario who does an amazing Gordon Lightfoot tribute.
Right.
And I keep saying he should come. He comes here every year for a vacation. I go, you could so get a few gigs out here just doing Gordon Lightfoot songs, and I think he wants to do it.
There's a market for tribute bands right now, and people love it. It's fun. I have nothing against it.
I saw a Journey tribute band in Ontario a few years ago, and they sound better than the actual Journey.
Yeah. It's funny though. I saw Journey 2 or 3 years ago in Quebec City, and there was so much negative press around Arnell, and there was a lot of drama between Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain at the time. And people were slagging their shows, but we went to see it, and it was an amazing show. It was really good.
Yeah, but I guess I've heard that about a lot of bands. Some of the best bands out there, and
Yeah,
they don't really get along all that well. But when they get on stage together, they can bury whatever it is and
yeah,
put on a great show. So I mean, that's what it's all about, I guess.
yeah, totally.
So you're gonna I hope everyone get out there and watch for some of your new stuff when you record it. How many CDs do you have out at the moment? Just if we're gonna
Well,
go,
I have I have three full length records and a couple EPs. Um, but I'm hoping to be a bit more quick at turning turning albums out. Not that I would ever just throw anything together out, but there was a long gap between the first and the second record.
right?
Then this one and the last one, it was a bit quicker. But every year or two, I would like to put a record out because as someone like albums mean a lot to me. Albums changed my life, and I always was a subscriber of like I'm into this artist and I'm going to be with them for the long haul. I'm going to buy the records, and
Yeah,
even if I don't like a certain one at a certain point in time, I'll come back to it.
yeah.
And I'd like to have that relationship with my fans.
Do you record yourself yourself? Like, do you do stuff at home, or do you actually use studio time, or
Um,
how do you do, what's your recording process usually like?
well, I don't do too much of the recording myself. Like I might do like a simple overdub from my house, but luckily I have so many friends that are amazing recording engineers. I did the latest record at three different studios. A bulk of it was done with John Mullane in Halifax. He plays with a band called Inflate Safety. He's done like a lot of really cool bands around the Halifax scene and all around the East Coast, actually. And then our drummer, he owns a studio in Moncton called Orem Waves, and we did a lot of the drum tracks and the keyboards there. And my friend James McClafferty runs a studio in Mirmachi called Mobium Productions, and I did most of my guitars and vocals there. So it's kind of nice to work with a lot of different people. It gives
Right,
you some different perspective and makes an album not so kind of sameish, I guess, for
right.
lack of a better term.
Yeah, I'm gonna share everything I can in the description on the video when I post it. The one I do want to promote because I've interviewed a few artists now that use Bandcamp,
Yeah.
and I kind of like that because you guys, from what you sell on Bandcamp, you guys actually get some money from it, unlike a Spotify or something like that. So
Oh, Spotify's such garbage. I know it's like a necessary evil that,
yeah,
but and I don't condemn anyone for using it, but yeah, I don't push my music too hard on Spotify. I mean, uh, yeah, I like the Bandcamp model.
yeah. I talked to Blair Packham of the Jitters.
Right.
He uses it for his solo stuff, and I bought his. I like supporting the artist as much as I can to make sure they get most of what they deserve. And years ago when I was working at a local community TV station, I actually did a story where we watched the recording process at Metalworks recording studio.
Right.
And I've gotten a whole new appreciation for the work that actually goes into recording music. It is work.
Yeah.
And artists deserve to be compensated for it
Yeah.
as much as possible because it really is work. It really is a lot of work, and it takes a talent to do what they do, whether it comes to the engineering or the playing and how many takes you have to do to get the right thing down. Like, I mean, I have a total respect for what artists go through to get their music out there. So I like when I heard about the Bandcamp model. Jeffrey from Spirit of the West uses it as well for his solo stuff. So I'm going to promote that as well.
Right. I I just I really take the craft of making records like pretty seriously, and I don't know. It's just a lot of time goes in. It's your life's work, really. Like it's a
Yeah,
chapter of your life making a record, and I know a lot of bands are more into the making singles
yeah.
model, but I think we're starting to see more of like a resurgence of albums, and I hope it goes more in that direction.
Especially with vinyl making the big comeback that it has over the years. I guess that helps a lot too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just gonna put this down, trying to get rid of some of the glare.
That's okay. Must be a nice day out there in Miramichi.
It is. How's it over on your end?
Oh, it's beautiful today. Beautiful today. It was kind of warm today, but yeah, I can't thank you enough for joining me. I was just so excited to have someone actually knew who I was the other day that night. I was just like, one, I got to meet this guy. I loved his set. It was amazing. And then to find out that you actually watch what I do is even better.
No, it was interesting. Like I was telling the person I was with that the guy said I was like the guy sitting beside us. He runs a cool podcast, and then you came over, and
Well,
I was
that was my reason for coming over. One, I wanted to meet you and say I loved your music, and two, because I wanted to get you on the channel. And then I realized when you said you actually watch it, I was like, wow, this. this will be great. Someone that actually watches what I do and
Small,
wants to be on
small
there.
world, man.
It really is. It really is. But hey, you never know who's watching or who's listening. I guess on your side too, it's probably the same way too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to join me. Good luck with your gigs. I will promote as much as I can. And anytime you want to come on and talk about something, when you have something new or you got some shows you want to promote, just send me a message and we'll come up and talk again.
for sure. It was my pleasure, Alan.
Thanks a lot, Dylan. Take care of yourself, sir.
Thank you.